Welcome, all you sheeple. I'm Max the Gaming Lamb. Welcome back to Frostpunk. Today we are going to be starting our refugees scenario. I have played it a couple of times off camera just to get used to the scenario. The first time I did play, I recorded, at least I thought I did. I've had a look for the recordings and I can't find them anywhere. Which is a shame. That was a couple hours gone. But this time I've made sure we're recording, we're good to go. We're going to be playing on medium difficulty. Now this is quite difficult, and you'll see in a little bit. The refugees. Here we go. We were condemned to die with the rest of the common folk when London was destroyed, but we rose up. We commandeered the ships that were meant to carry the wealthy to safety and sailed north. Here we found a generator and claimed it for ourselves. Now we must gather all our people in this new city before the lords arrive to rob us of our freedom. Again, we will never submit. Now, I have looked up a couple guides online. There's not that many, but I have found an incredibly useful YouTuber with like a very in-depth guide to the first week of this scenario. Hopefully, I've learned a little bit from them, and we'll see. I'll have a link to their videos down in the description below. All right, here we go. Save our people. After the ships we stole from the lords got stuck in the frozen ocean, we head out in small groups towards the generator. Most of our people are still on the trail. They have less than 2 weeks of supplies, and the weather is getting worse every day. We must do everything we can to make sure they all get here safely. So there's a few things to note in this scenario. We've got piles of steam cores at the very start. So instead of starting with the steam cores like we do in a new home, as well as wood and steel, we start without any of those, but we do get 500 coal, so we won't have to worry about collecting it for some time. When we do have 3 piles of coal as well. Another thing to note is that we've only got 1 wall drill, that we've got 2 iron deposits and 2 coal deposits. And now the most important thing to take note of is the fact that we've only got 28 workers at the very start, which is significantly less than what we start with in the other scenarios. Maybe the arcs, I can't remember. I think we start with a little more, and the fact that you start with an automaton is also quite huge. And we do have 15 children as well. So what we're going to do, first off, is sign the emergency shift law. We're going to put those workers on there, put those engineers on there, and put those workers on there. Now, we're not going to put the 24 hours on just yet. We're going to wait a little bit. Now, our objective at the moment should be to get a tech station up and running as quickly as possible. And we're going to put it way out of the way. So, as you may or may not have noticed, this entire area is quite an awkward shape, which means the way we construct stuff is going to matter quite a bit. We'll just plop that there for the time being. Wait a little while. Now hopefully our engineers can finish construction before the day is over, so we can get started on research. I'm not too confident that they will. That's okay. So straight up, we'll get research underway. And we'll research resource gathering. Now, after that, we are going to look towards heaters, because as you can see, it only uses 1 coal per hour when running compared to 3 per hour. And while the steam hubs are ultimately more useful in that sense that they cover a larger area and match the heat with that of your generator, it is quite steel intensive. And we just don't have the workforce at the moment to support building steam hubs in all our workplaces. Although we will try to get steam hubs by about day 4, day 5. This is what I'm worried about. We want to have our food production established by day 3, the start of day 3. And we'll need a heater to ensure that it can get the job done. So the workday is almost up, I believe. 1800 it looks like. Faster gathering is being researched, and we'll just start focusing everyone on these wood piles here. So we'll turn on 24 hours. We'll also turn on the generator. Take these engineers off that pile and get them working on the wood. Now, hopefully by the end of today, or the end of the night at the very least, we will have gathered all the wood we can from both piles. We'll also start construction on these tents. We've got 5 of those ready to go. And we'll get a nice little crew of builders working on those. Just in the meantime. Just getting a few sick people, but that's okay. And I think going to work. Okay, so the next building should be under construction. I'm going to switch extended shift on and slap it on there. So at about 6th, we're going to switch our engineers from the piles onto the resource areas. And just like that, the pile is empty and we're going to move on. We are going to construct the first gathering post. We just need a little bit more steel beforehand. I should probably take those engineers off from there. There we go. And what we might do... Ah, they're building. That's okay, I suppose. A little annoying that those builders are preoccupied, but they're back. Fantastic. This pile should empty shortly. We'll assign the rest of the engineers onto there for now. Ah, fantastic. The next group has arrived. So this is sort of the gimmick with this scenario. We'll keep receiving groups like this. Unlike a new home where we sort of had the opportunity to manage how many people we're taking in at once, with this scenario, it's very much... you just have to deal with them as they come in. So we didn't get any additional engineers, but we did get some additional workers, which is fantastic news. So what we're going to do is construct a gathering post there, and then we'll build another one there. Still a little bit of steel to go. We'll also build 2 more tents. There we go. Working day and night. We won't address this right now. We can afford to wait a little longer. So the next research we were going to get was the heaters, and that will keep our gathering posts nice and warm. Wood crates depleted, fantastic. So we'll get those guys on there, and we can actually afford to build a medical facility to start treating some of these sick people. Now, I would like to keep the medical facilities all clustered together. So I'll build one just there for the time being. And once we unlock infirmaries, we can start to mess around with that a little more. Still 20 people free, so we're going to assign them to there to start collecting that wood. And we'll also build another gathering post over here. And I believe... how many do we have? 10 available. We can afford to build yet another gathering post over here. Fantastic. Shelter promise fulfilled, so that's going to bump our hope up a little bit. As you can see, people are starting to get hungry. So they'll finish building over there. We need a beacon, so that's going to be up next in terms of research. So we'll have someone assigned here. And we can take those guys off that steel pile. Sign a new law. Definitely going to pick sustain life. Now we can afford to chuck more people on there. And we might do that just to ensure that when the time comes, we can actually afford going to switch extended shift on these bad boys. Can actually afford the beacon, which will cost quite a bit of steel. So I might take those guys off from there and chuck them on there. And with the other 15, we might look into hunters' huts and where to build those bad boys. I'm thinking we might do so. Back here, it does get a little cramped. Behind these piles might not be a bad idea. Just push it out a little bit further. I'm not going to be able to fit there. Could potentially fit here. A little awkward. We'll figure something out. We've got time. It's probably more important that we construct the cookhouse anyway. So we'll plop that down. I'm thinking maybe on the other side of this gathering post. Now with the next group, I'm hoping we get some more engineers so we can start to boost up our research a little more. And how many people do we have left? 10 people. So yeah, we are going to assign them there just until we get a hunter's hut up and running. And the temperature is going to dip quite shortly. Speak of the devil, there we go. And as you can see, all these places are chilly, so we'll turn those on. At this stage, we don't want to really overwhelm our quite small medical facility with too many sick people. So it is essential that we keep people nice and toasty. So next up is the beacon, and then we'll start looking towards things like the sawmill and whatnot. We will eventually get the wall drill, but with all these resources here, we do get, I think, it's about 240 wood a day with the sawmill, which is quite significant. And there we go, we can free up those people there. Now at the moment, I won't get them to do anything just yet, because there are only about 5 of them, and there's not too much we can get them to do. I'll get them to build the second workshop right now, actually, just so it's nice and ready for when our people arrive. And boom. Fantastic. The beacon is done, so we can get those guys to head out. Next, we'll get the sawmill. And we'll get overcrowding this time. So I'm usually a fan of extra rations for the ill. Now that's typically really good, as long as your system never gets overwhelmed, because it allows you to cycle people out really quickly. But when you get, like, say, 100 people sick all at once, and you just don't have the space for it, extra rations isn't quite as good as overcrowding. As you can see, it only increases our discontent, which isn't a huge price to pay. So as you can see, we've got 5 people being treated. We've got capacity for 10 now, which is fantastic. So what we can actually do is turn the heater off, just because that place isn't being used. We are going to leave it open, because otherwise people won't go there to eat. I'm not sure why that's a feature. But hey, there's not too much we can do about that. So we do need a little more steel. Perfect. Now we're not going to have enough wood to get the first group sent off, but it should be enough. Ah, there we go. Another group arrives. Next group of our brothers and sisters are here. Fantastic. So immediately we can assign some to there, 2 more to there. So that should max out just how efficient that's operating. Now with the rest of the people, we've only got about 8 more, 5 of which are going to be sent off to the beacon. 3 engineers. I'm not sure how to use those guys as of right now. There we go. So the next group is coming. They've got about 10 engineers, so we can get another research place ready for them, and perhaps another medical facility. And everyone's eating, which is fantastic. Now we should get ready for the next dip in temperature, so we can either research better gathering post heaters, or these on? They are indeed on. They're heaters or steam hubs. Hopefully, these piles will be empty by the time day 7 comes around. We've got steam hubs going. We've got proper resources being pulled in. But there's only one way to find out. Nice and early in the day, people are off to work. Sawmill is completed. And we are, in fact, going to build one of those bad boys straight away. And we can plop it maybe there. Oh, perhaps not the best placement, because we do want another tech research area. Oh, we don't want to destroy the resource. So for the time being, it might actually be fine there. I'm okay with it being there. 18 wood, we can start researching to the next thing. Might do steel works, just so we've got our bases covered. Just gonna wait until we get 40 wood. We may as well do hunter's gear right now. It's only 10 wood, not a huge amount being lost. We'll hold off on the steelworks for now. We can afford to stock this with people though, so we'll do just that. And it is chilly, so we'll turn on the heater as well. Keep those people nice and warm. Extended shift. There we go. Now we can afford to get a group of explorers out there. And they'll arrive shortly anyway. So just wait for this to finish up for the day. We can't afford to get another tech just yet. We'll take those workers off of there. And we will construct the scouts. We'll get them to head off to the abandoned camp. This next group does have 10 engineers. Now we could construct another one of these bad boys, but I would rather them working on wood, just because at the moment that is what's holding us back in terms of research and whatnot. And here they are. Yes, we can't even house them. Missing children. Several families have reached our city. Unfortunately, some of their children got lost near the trail bend. They are distraught and beg for you to help their kids. Now, we don't have to send people off right away to go recover them. We've got 11 days to find them. But they're not the only group that will be missing. So we've got to try and balance out exploring and saving. A couple more sick people, that's okay. We'll get them home soon enough. Now the next thing we should be looking towards, a neighborhood watch wouldn't be bad, but I think a fighting arena is probably the best way to go, just so we can start getting our discontent nice and low. And we'll assign those guys there. There we go. So we do have an extra 3 people, so I think we might build another workshop. There we go. A steam hub wouldn't be bad, though I am just going to double check our coal reserves. We do have enough for a little while, and a steam hub would mean that instead of heating all these buildings individually, we'd just be heating them with the one place, which isn't bad. Although I might actually abort that, because again we don't have the steel production as of just yet. For coal. Now drawing boards is 50. Now we'll do a steam hub. We'll do steam hub. It is only 10 wood, so it is definitely worth it. We are going to need to get people out hunting soon, and we can't afford to wait for those guys to get here. Just another workshop there. And we'll expand that out a little bit. Abandoned camp. This camp belonged to the builders of the generator. Their shacks are falling apart. Steel and wood. We found scraps from a diary amongst the remains of the camp. Today we finished building the generator for the Lords. Now, at last, we can set out for London to bring our families here to safety, reads the last entry. So it's a little bit of steel and a little bit of wood. Kind of tempting to bring them back, but I think it is worth waiting a little while. Now, how much steel is left? Not much. Not much steel left there either. Not a great amount of wood. So these piles are going to be finishing up shortly. The next research we might do will be drawing boards, and we'll get into coal mining. In the meantime, we can afford to construct 2 more tents, which is what we'll do, just to make sure that our medical places aren't getting overwhelmed. Then after that, we will definitely look into hunting. So yep, steel wreckage depleted. By the end of the next day, this should be depleted, and then hopefully we'll get the steam cores. This will also be depleted, and at least one of those wood piles will be depleted. People are hungry. We will feed them. Maybe. I hope. So we are going to need 2 of those bad boys. And, well, a lot of hope, quite honestly. So with that finished, we can now look towards upgrading the power of the generator, the power of the heaters, which is probably the better idea. As you can see, these are livable. We do... Coal is probably the best thing to look at. Maybe a sawmill upgrade to get more wood. Then coal mining. Then heat. So it is going to be a little close. We will use the engineers. Oh, we can't really afford that, can we? Interesting. Interesting. Scouts have reached Broken Tree, a distinct spot in the Frostland. We can use it to explore new places. We haven't found anything except for an old storehouse, which we'll head to, and a steam lorry, which will have a steam core for us. So we'll send them off. Or at least I hope it has a steam core. Now, 15 people. These guys are going to arrive in about 17 hours. Interesting. Now we are maxing out in coal. So we will build a resource depot just to store that additional coal and to try and use up these as quickly as possible so we can get the workers from there working somewhere else. They've made it. Parts of the storehouse have been taken apart for fuel. The remains of a campfire are hidden inside between stacked crates of frozen fish. Searching the storehouse, we found records of shipments from the fisheries on the lake. Some pages have been ripped out. The last entry says we've been abandoned. I'll gather our men and head out to the main camp before we run out of fish and fuel. So that's given us 50 food. How long is it going to take us to get to the fishing boat? About 12 hours. Then we can head back to the city, and we won't have to worry about getting people sent out as hunters. At least not immediately. So we finished that research. Coal mining was next, I believe. Although power wouldn't be bad either. And this is when we want to start switching over to steam hubs, because our heaters aren't going to be strong enough to withstand cold temperatures. So there, coal mining allow us to build coal mines. Let's have a quick look. Medical post upgrade wouldn't be bad. Hot houses wouldn't be terrible. 30 raw food per day. rather than the 20 food per day, and that is using more people. I just don't remember if this is engineer only. Because it does use steam cores, and I would like a coal mine instead. We'll do coal mine, heating, and then depending on how many people we have and where we want them to work, we might in fact go down the hothouse tree rather than the hunter tree. Yes, coal mining. There we go. So those guys are set to arrive quite soon. So what we will do is plop down another tent for them. Long hours of toil. We won't address this right now because we do desperately at this stage need as much extra stuff as we can get. So we're going to dismantle that gathering post. This gathering post is still doing alright. This one is about to collect the steam cores for us, so we are going to want to switch over to steel. So we'll get the steel works up and running. There we go. And we can sign a new law, and we might do soup. So right now we'll put 10 people on there just to bring us in a little bit of food so these guys don't starve. And more people have arrived. Fantastic. More than a dozen have arrived. Excellent. Coal mine has been finished. And as I said, we'll do heating next. We will construct the steam hub to keep everyone in this vicinity nice and toasty. This will be finished before the freeze. We will need another one here to keep those guys nice and warm. This building should be okay, I hope. We'll get this switched to coal, just so this gathering post can finish this up nice and quick. We will need more tents, and I'm trying to think of the best place to put it. We might put a steam hub down here soon. Two tents and a fighting arena. Additional fighting arena over here, and that's all we can afford for the time being. So we're just going to stretch out the street ever so slightly. There we go. They have arrived. Here we go, raw food, the mother lode. It's a large fishing boat. It's partially hidden under thick layers of snow. We dug up the fishing boat. It was hard work, but it was worth it. We've retrieved some valuable resources from it. So we've got about 100 food, if I'm not mistaken. 100 raw food, that is. So we'll try and bring that back in time to cook up for everyone. These guys will be making soup for everyone. There we go. Fighting arena has been constructed. 20 starving people. Not a great sign. So we'll have this burning between those hours, and we'll have this burning 24 hours because it does need to keep the medical facility nice and toasty. Now we don't have 10 people to assign there just yet. Now once this has collected those steam cores, I'm sure we will. This is slowly running out. They have almost returned with the food. Turn the heating on. Scouts have returned, which is excellent news. And immediately we'll send them out for the steam lorry, just so we can get a steam core. And what we'll do is that should buy us enough time to start getting people working elsewhere. Now what we will do is also unlock Neighborhood Watch, so we can start implementing those buildings in our setup too. So as you can see, these places aren't going to be kept nice and toasty. So we'll build a steam hub just here. And we'll research. So we do have the next generator power upgrade, which is fantastic. This should be keeping, yes, places nice and warm. Now we do need better coal mining, which we aren't going to get for a few levels. Bunkhouses wouldn't be a bad idea either, but we do need to step up our production of resources, so we might do that. We are going to get 15 extra workers, which will be huge. We could, in fact, get another sawmill up and running. Now I would put it here, but I would like to keep them clustered up just for the fact that we can get both nice and toasty with one steam hub rather than two. Now, if we turn the heaters off in these buildings, it should save us a little bit of coal. Those gathering posts should be finishing up soon. We do have one steam core already, which is fantastic news. So we'll move over to the coal mine and figure out where we're going to place the first one. Might do it over here. There we go. Just like that. It's going to use up our one steam core, but that's okay. Gathering post done. So we can dismantle that one. And we can probably dismantle this as well. Which will give us another 10 workers, which can work straight onto that sawmill. And another 10. It's interesting. Interesting. So the next group arrives, caught in a blizzard, but the beacon that led them through the worst of it. Once we get to about 6 days, I'll start sending people out to go rescue the other groups. Today's just going to be a lot of dismantling. Quite a few hungry people, but more than enough food for everyone. Now, if we have a look at the temperatures, livable. Now we are going to switch that just to the extended work times. And if we have a look, a steam sawmill wouldn't be bad, but I think a steam steelworks is probably better. With the extra 10 people, we'll have them working there, and another 10 will get them working there. Although I'm thinking now that we may actually, in fact, need them. There we go. Just wanted to make sure we cover that. Now the coal mine should be okay. Though I might need to move a steam hub closer. I do need 2 watchtowers. 2, and then 3. And we'll move the cookhouse once we get the opportunity. Extend that road just a little bit. There we go. So the next group has about 20 more workers, which will be excellent. We don't need anyone working in the coal mine as of just now. We do only want that burning at certain hours of the day. A couple more people getting sick because they're working in the cold. So we'll keep that on just for a little while. Switch those on. Switch that on. Now, do we want more steel or more wood? I think we want more of both. I forgot we had enough people for all of them. 2 watchtowers. Still not sure why a bunch of people haven't eaten yet. There we go. We may in fact need that coal sooner than I anticipated. So we are going to get a few people working there. A bunch of sick absences. Not great news. There we go. We might actually freeze if we're not careful. So what I'll do is I'll turn this off, but I'll also bring the people out of there so they're not going to freeze. I'll also turn this one off, just for the time being. And I'll get the people. Oh, I can leave the people there. We'll turn this one off too. And get the people out of there because we do have full wood. Before switching that on to extended. We are definitely going to want to maximize the amount of coal we're getting from the facility. Not sure if we'll have enough time. Do want to collect those steam cores as well. This huge machine used to haul tons of cargo until it broke. We can dismantle it to retrieve some resources. The generators were built thanks to steam lorries like this and their ability to haul cargo over the frozen landscape. It's a shame it can't be repaired. A ruined warehouse and the aircraft wreck. We might head off there. We do need to research a second crew shortly. Not quite enough time. I'm not sure if we'll have enough, so we are going to lower the level to just heat level 1. I don't think it's going to be enough to get us through the night, but it will save us a little bit. 10 hours. Should be quite close. Now we might go into purpose and just get morning gathering. Just the sooner we get that, the better. Got about a day and 10 hours. We should be okay. Just for a little longer. A couple of people are going to get sick. That is okay. The heat's going to go up, so level 1 should be sufficient anyway. Yeah. Chilly is the worst of it, so we can afford to operate like this for a little while. The next level, I don't think we'll bother with the steam sawmill just yet, or the hothouse, although we may need to shortly. Efficiency might not be a bad idea, but tier 3 tech will allow us to move on to steam coal mines, which will be a huge help. And then we'll address food, because we are good for wood and steel at the moment. So we'll get people back out and working at these facilities. We'll get 5 people back there. So we're going to get a couple of sick people, but it is okay. Our coal is starting to go up again. Gathering post is depleted, so we can dismantle that building. And then we'll get 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. And then we'll take them out almost immediately. We'll be able to fully stock that up, and that should fix our food as long as we're on soup. The rest of those guys, I'll get them working there, and we've got enough for a second away team. 3 of the 4 walls are still standing, protecting a small stash of snow-covered supplies. With moderate effort, we were able to remove the crates containing supplies from under the snow. We'll put them to good use in our city. So we go to the aircraft wreck, and then we'll return. And then we might need to worry about rescuing people. There we go. Mechanical calculator's done. Steam coal mine is next. Now, the big issue with the hothouses is the steam cores, because we do want infirmaries at some stage, because we will be receiving a lot of people, and if we don't have infirmaries, it's going to be very difficult to house them. Might do is just switch around. Oh, we do have the steam steelworks, so we'll just upgrade both of those just quickly. Now, the cookhouse will just move back here, I think. I was to dismantle that street, like so, and construct the cookhouse there. I could dismantle that building and switch them around. So the next group have arrived. According to these, a group of refugees took a wrong turn at the White Pass. They'll surely die if the scouts don't help them. Oh dear, oh dear. Now, we do need that heating back on shortly. I'm going to keep them around here just so they can benefit from the heat. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Book of Laws. Let's open that bad boy up. See what we can do. Guard stations wouldn't be bad. We do want them nice and early. So we'll just upgrade one of those for now. Oh, it does say 2. So we'll get 2 of those for now. And we'll dismantle that bad boy. And put the engineers in there. 25 workers available. We'll get them working in the other hunter's hut. And with the rest, we'll leave them building for now. How much wood is left? This is all done. This has about 470 left. So we'll get the second sawmill and push it a little further up. If this was on, just curious as to where it would reach. Not quite far enough. So what we'll do is we'll turn it off, scrap it, advance the road a little bit, and build a new steam hub. There. There we go. Still a little bit of time before the dip in temperature. We are going to have to turn this bad boy back on 24 hours because we do need to keep the sick bays as free as possible. And what we'll do with the additional people, we'll assign them into those guard towers. And we'll get another medical post up and running. Nice and early on. They've arrived. Coal, steel, and steam cores, so we'll send them back straight away. This wreck must have been a winged flying machine, a novel design. We've only heard vague rumors of it. We had no idea that actually been made. Wow, cool. This machine had 4 wings arranged in 2 levels and was powered by engines similar to those used in motor sleds, but more powerful and compact. It seems it was used to carry important loads or passengers, but we only found 2 bodies on board slumped over the controls of the forward cabin. So we'll take those resources and we'll head back home. So it's going to take about a day. Alright, and with that, I think we'll end this episode here. We're not doing too badly. I'm feeling alright about it, although our food is now in dire straits. Our coal isn't looking great, but hey, we'll see. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I've been Max the Gaming Lamb, and I hope you have a wonderful day or evening. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Ciao, ciao.